Hello and welcome to Speak, Feed, Lead podcast. This is Jackie Bailey. I enjoy teaching public speaking and leadership to grades 6 to 8. And I have 4 very special students in one of my classes who have been learning about what inspires them, and they have searched near and far to discover some quotes that are meaningful to them in some way, or perhaps the person who said it is meaningful to them in some way. You're going to hear on my podcast today the journey from the initial findings of a quote that inspires to then crafting and developing an entire speech from something that is meaningful to you, which is what I'm hoping my students will learn to do. You're going to hear initially 3 of my students share their quote and a little bit about why the quote is meaningful to them. One of my students was not there on the day that we talked about this, but then a week or so later, the students came back with a prepared presentation, an entire speech, which was foundationally crafted from that quote. And you'll actually hear all 4 students give that presentation. I won't give any names out, but you're going to be able to tell the difference between these kids. And I hope you enjoy listening to my podcast today on Speak, Feed, Lead.
My quote that I chose was a quote by J.K. Rowling, the author of the Harry Potter series. She wrote, "It matters not what someone was born, but what they grow to be." I like this quote, and it's inspiring to me because it means that no matter what happens, it can be used in other situations too, not just growing up. If you find yourself in a bad situation, it can always turn to good, and the opposite for bad. If you're stuck in a bad situation, in a good situation, it might turn bad. That's why I think this quote is inspirational.
Our first presenter is the end of the story.
O Fortuna, Vela Luna, Satis Variabilis. O Fortune, like the moon, you are changeable. O Fortune, a Latin poem, is an interesting interpretation of life. After all, life is full of twists and turns where you don't expect it, some good and some bad. I'm going to share with you some stories and how you can change your outlook on life. About a month ago, I had a Science Olympiad competition that I had prepared really hard for about 3 months, and unfortunately, I had a burning fever of 103 degrees, and the competition was the next day, so I had to make a decision. Should I stay at home and rest, or should I go to the Science Olympiad competition, which I might even not be able to do because I couldn't really concentrate? So I just made a decision to go to Vancouver, even though I was sick, because, oh well, I'll just try. I could have stayed and rested at home, but I just chose to because I felt like Science Olympiad was important to me. After competing in 4 events and 1 additional unexpected event, each of them lasting about 15 minutes, I was feeling really tired and exhausted. But all of it paid off when that night at the awards ceremony, our team went to the state championship, and me and my partner team got a silver medal in one of our competition. It seems like my choice wasn't a very big one at the beginning, but it really paid off. And because I made that choice, our team was successful as well as my own partner team. Now I'm going to switch gears and tell you 2 stories about 2 famous people, Louis Armstrong and Marie Antoinette. These 2 people may seem very different, but their stories actually have a lot in common if you think about it. World-famous musician Louis Armstrong was born in a neighborhood so poverty-stricken and impoverished that it was nicknamed the battlefield. He had a hard life working odd jobs, and once got in trouble with the local police. Gradually, he discovered his passion for music and playing the cornet. He worked hard and found himself on the international stage. His childhood was rough and bitter, but he grew up to be known as the father of jazz. On the other hand, Marie Antoinette, the last French queen before the French Revolution, led an extremely different life. She grew up in the Palace of Versailles, was treated, well, like a queen, and had plenty to wear and plenty to eat. When she was crowned queen at the age of 19, France was in a state of financial turmoil. The peasants couldn't farm enough wheat because their yields were low, and as a result, the country did not have enough food to eat. While all this was happening, Marie Antoinette was in the palace enjoying her wonderful and lavish food. And the peasants started realizing, wait, the king and queen aren't going to help us. So they started a revolution. Marie Antoinette was eventually beheaded. Marie Antoinette could have made the decision to help her fellow countrymen, to give them food and actually give up her lavish life, but instead she didn't. These people's stories are actually very similar because even though they started out very differently, they both had a twist of fate, and that wasn't expected. They both turned out very differently from how they started. The only difference between Marie Antoinette and Louis Armstrong is that both of them had a decision to make, but Louis Armstrong took it and Marie Antoinette didn't. It matters not what someone was born, but what they grow to be. C.K. Rowling. It doesn't matter what you're born, because your choices will definitely impact your happily ever after. Louis Armstrong and Marie Antoinette both had opportunities, but one took it and one ignored it. I had a choice to go to the Science Olympiad, but I took it instead of ignoring it. And as a result, my team got into the state championships and we won a silver medal. Choices are a crucial factor when determining your fate, for your future is not impacted as strongly as the present as the actions you take. Every little decision impacts your future in some way, so when opportunity strikes, take it. Life is full of twists and turns where you don't expect them. The question is, are they impacted by your conscious decision or the opportunities that you did take? It doesn't matter how your story starts, just how it ends, because you've got a lot of pages to make decisions that will ultimately bring a happy ending.
All right, next up.
It's change your life today. Don't gamble in the future. Act now without delay. This quote is very important to me since it tells me to not wait for something to happen and wait for a miracle. Instead, take matters into your own hands and do what you want now in the present. The story that relates to this quote that I remember most is when I had large essay. The weatherman said that there would be a heavy snow, about a foot or so. I, thinking that there would be an extra day of the weekend, stopped writing my essay and went to bed early. The next day, I quickly got out of bed and looked outside through the window expecting 2 to 3 feet of snow, only to see green grass and a small layer of snow. The realization quickly dawned upon me that there would be school today. I quickly wrote my essay, not caring to look for mistakes or revisions. I bolted through the door of my house to the bus stop, hoping that my essay would at least be decent. I turned it in and wished for the best results. I got my essay handed back with a large red stamp reading "See me" on top. The teacher said I needed to redo this so I could get a higher score. Although I stayed up until midnight to finish my essay, I learned an important lesson. Don't gamble in the future. Act now without delay.
Act without delay.
One quote that is significant to me is from Simone de Beauvoir. Change your life today. Don't gamble in the future. Act now without delay. This quote is very important to me since it tells me not to wait for something to happen, but wait for a miracle. Instead, take matters into your own hands and do what you want now in the present. I've always waited or procrastinated while doing my work, and in the end, my work always came out half-baked. A story that reflects upon my characteristics is when I had a large essay due. The weather said that there would be heavy snow, about a foot or so. I, ecstatically thinking that there would be an extra day, stopped writing my essay and went to bed early. The next day, I quickly got out of bed and looked outside through the window, expecting 2 to 3 feet of snow, only to see green grass and a small layer of snow. The realization quickly dawned upon me that there would be school today. I quickly wrote my essay, not caring to look for grammatical mistakes or revisions. I bolted through the door of my house to the bus stop, hoping that my essay would at least be decent. I turned it in and wished for the best of results. I got my essay handed back with a large red stamp reading "See Me" on top. The teacher said I needed to redo this so I could get a higher score. Although I stayed up until midnight to finish my essay, I learned an important and vital lesson that day. Don't gamble in the future, act now without delay. This quote also inspired me because I firsthand seen the benefits of doing my work beforehand and quickly. One time I had an essay, but I learned my lesson last time. I didn't delay or rely on luck. Once I had finished, I was completely stress-free and had more time for revision, while others were scrambled and were frustrated because they delayed their essays. This gave me more insight to the quote, and the quote helps me remember to this day to continue to never delay my work.
So people use TikTok and Instagram nowadays, and because there's a lot of video and people can comment there, so there could be negative and positive comments. And one time I saw somebody comment that what you see is what you want to see. So don't judge without knowing the whole story. I think this is really important because one time I was on TikTok and I saw a video and I just commented something negative. After this person said another video and explained what happened, I feel really bad about what I commented. And that is why it's important. I saw this scene in the movie that an adult asking a girl about like 6 or 7 years old did another man did something to her. That girl firstly shake his head, meaning no, but after many tries, that girl nodded. That person left the room with the answer he wants, but it's the answer he wants, not the answer. Sometimes what we see is what we want to see. Even knowing the truth, we still can't really change our mind. Thank you.
You see what you want to see. Please welcome.
Once upon a time, there is a girl named Elle. She is a YouTuber, and every day she just keeps filming YouTube, teaching people how to diet. But one day she is sick. She went to the hospital, and the doctor said that she is sick because she didn't have enough meat. But really fast, the doctor finds he took the wrong paper. And the person took the video of what happened. He left before the doctor said he used the wrong paper. That person posted on social media. There is a lot of negative comments about Elle. So I'll explain what happened, but people didn't believe her, most of the people. So people keep attacking her with language. We use social media a lot right now, but because of the limit it has, people can't find out who's sorry and comment, and then they comment negatively. Maybe sometime when you comment something negative, think about you see what you want to see. I used to do that too before I know this quote. I just comment whatever I think, even I don't know what happened. So either you're just not going to comment, or you comment something that is nice. Thank you.
What I would like for you guys to do with these, as your homework assignment suggests, is I want you to consider why you've chosen this and how this quote is an impetus to change.